The feel of the ride, like I said, is pretty much identical, except this is just a little bit heavier, just a tiny bit. Acceleration though, this is much better in terms of its max potential. But there's a caveat with that. Unless you've actually pushed your OG to cutout in acceleration, you're never going to notice. And I don't think many people have, because that thing has got a ton of power already. So if you lent your OG in like to max acceleration and cut out and face planted, if you got up and said, nah, that's too slow, then you could say, yeah, I need more acceleration. But if you haven't done that, you can't say, oh, my OG doesn't accelerate fast enough. Because all you got to do is lean more, it'll accelerate harder. That's how they work. If it cuts out, then you can say, yes, I need more power. I can't even use it because I don't have power pads. So I'm going to get onto that, to be honest. That's something I've been thinking about a lot since getting this thing. Before, I'd never thought about it. I was always like, nah, why bother with power pads, you know? I enjoy riding just like this, you know, barebacked. What do you call it? Bareback horse riding. 10 horsepowers. But since I've got like 10 horsepower now I'm thinking I shouldn't be going bareback. Maybe I should be mounting up on a saddle. Get a couple of, I don't know, power sticks. Power boots, perhaps. You know, I got to use the power somehow. Somehow I know there's a way.
Use the Force, Luke.
But until that day comes, I will never know just how powerful this thing is.
What a strong.
I mean, it's a beast.
Luke, trust me.
If it compares to the Master, which it does, from what I've heard, it's got very similar max acceleration as the Master, then it's very fast. It can do like 0 to 60 kilometers an hour in 3 seconds. It's like a sports car. I haven't cleaned it. I don't clean my EUCs, guys. It's not something I do. I just leave them and let them live out their lives in the jungle. The concrete jungle. This thing can make you the king of the concrete jungle. You never need to clean it. You never need to do anything. You don't need to change the brakes or anything. No chain, no gears, no cables, nothing. Not, you know, like on a bike, you've got all these things you need to service. On this thing, you just ride. You just ride and ride and ride until this thing wears out. That thing's called a tire. And then you change the tire and you keep riding. Rinse and repeat. Except you don't need to rinse it. Like I said, I'd never clean this thing. No need. It's got more character this way. Some of your older subs would recognize this place, and you'd recognize this corner right here. Tell me, someone down below, if you recognize that. I mean, not someone down below, but someone around the internet. And also guess how many miles we've done now on this Sherman Max. Because, you know, I got the Max now. Most of you know that already, but I had the OG originally. Now I've got the Max. On my OG, I had done 20,000 kilometers. I mean, I'm still going. That thing's still going. Never had an issue. On this Max, we're gonna see how many kilometers we've done. Let's see. You ready? 3,530 already. That's pretty crazy. Wasn't expecting quite that many. So that's like, what's that? 2,000, it's over 2,000 miles. It's like 2,200 miles on the max, right? How has it gone? Well, I should point out that we had that issue in the mall. Most of you probably know that. In the mall, I was trolleying. I was just walking with it, right? You know, trolleying. Just like that. And it cut out. Can you believe it? It cut out while trolleying. What a troll. Is this thing trying to troll me or something? I don't know. We still don't know, to be honest, guys. We don't know what's going on with that. We got some comments, not just from people watching the video, but from the place I bought this thing from. They told me it could be Wi-Fi, which I thought was very bizarre, because what the hell? What is this thing doing talking to Wi-Fi and asking for instructions? So if you get the wrong signal, if someone sends you the wrong wave message or instruction, this thing will just turn off. It'll just be like, yep, no worries. Doesn't make sense, does it? But since then, there's been no issues. And that happened at like the 375 kilometer mark. Pretty much right around there. So it was pretty much brand new. You know, I'd only done a few hundred kilometers. And I was walking through the mall, it cut out on me. Since then, it hasn't had a single issue. It's been perfect. And I've done, like you saw, 3,500 kilometers. So it's gone a long way now. It's been very good, very reliable, perfectly reliable. Aside from that one issue in the mall. So take that as you will. I don't know what to think of that, to be honest. Freaking nice gone windy all of a sudden. I love this thing though, I love it. What can I say about it? In comparison to the OG, when I first got this thing, I said it's not really any heavier. Like when I lifted it, you know, and I felt its weight, riding it and all that. And I said, nah, it's not really, I can't notice any extra weight there at all. But now, I kind of can. And what's happened is I've been riding this thing non-stop. I mean, not non-stop, but just this thing. No OG Sherman, nothing else, just this thing. And then after a while of riding this thing alone, I got back on my OG and I was like, oh gee, this feels heavy. Literally, that's what I said. No, wait, light. Sorry, that was wrong. It rhymes. It sounded good, but it was wrong. This thing is heavy. Heavy to the max. This is heavier than my 1 rep max, in fact. And I can barely lift the thing. No, I'm joking. It only weighs like 2 more kilos than the OG. But it makes a big difference. Like in terms of, all right, here's how I explain it. When I first noticed that difference, I got back on the OG and I was like, damn, this thing feels pretty light. Like I can notice it now, you know. At first I couldn't notice anything. And then I was like, yeah, I can notice this thing feels just that little bit more squirrely. You know, and that can be a good thing or a bad thing depending on how you look at it. I tend to think it's more of a good thing in this case. Like when I got back on my OG, I was like, yeah, this feels a bit lighter, a bit more nimble. I like it. But a little bit more squirrely. So this thing is more stable, right? It's got just that extra 2 kilograms or whatever it is. It makes it feel more stable. And significantly heavier when you do this. Look, because I often do this, like say it's sitting there on the ground. And then to pick it up, what I'll do is I'll go like that with 1 foot and go like that, right? And when I do that on the OG, it feels way easier. On this thing, even though it's only 2 more kilos, it feels like twice as hard. It's like I'm lifting an anvil off the ground. So I don't know what's up with that. But, like I said, it's good and bad. So it's got extra stability, but it's lost a bit of nimbleness. Probably not much, and I still haven't tried any drifts on this thing. And I don't know what it'll be like. So it could be better, it could be worse. It might be better because it's more stable, but it might be worse because it's less nimble. So we'll have to wait and see. The thing is, though, it's been cold and wet. Like right now, the weather looks pretty good, but it's freezing. Look how I'm dressed, right? Look at these layers. I've got friggin' like 50 layers. If someone shot me with a bullet, it probably wouldn't even get through these layers. Oh yeah, what I was saying is I haven't been able to try any drifting because it's wet, because it's been wet. The gravel that I drift on, gravel, there's no gravel here, but just imagine there's gravel. When it gets wet, it gets sticky. It's the opposite to the road. When the road gets wet, it gets slippery. When gravel gets wet, it gets sticky. And you can't drift on it. There's no way to slide. It's just so grippy. It just grabs tons of grip on wet gravel. It's amazing. And look at my tire also. Like, remember, how many Ks have I done? I've done 3,500. How's my tire looking? Pretty decent. But it's wearing down. You can see, like, I would say another 3,500 Ks and it'll be very worn out. So in total, I'll have 7,000. I would say at that point, I'll need to change this thing for sure. And that would be pushing it, I would say. So there you go, 7,000 kilometers on a tire. But I love this thing though. I love this thing. Even though it's a little bit heavier, a little bit less nimble than the OG, I just ride this thing. I don't even ride the OG. Mainly because right now my OG is missing its trolley handle. Why is it missing it? Because I stole it. I broke the handle on this thing and then I couldn't order a new one because I had none in stock. So what I did, I took it off my OG and put it in this. And lucky I had the OG because I have now got those spare parts. Like, most of the parts are the same. The trolley handle, the roll bars, I think the side covers, the pedals, the tire, the lights, front and back. Everything, like the screen, the buttons, pretty much everything, the top cover. It's all the same. The only different things are the main board, the motor, and the battery. Which is a lot, I guess you could say that's all there is to an EUC, is the main board, the motor, and the battery. But you know what I mean, like most of it is the same. Like if you need to just replace little parts here and there, they're going to be the same. So that's another thing. I like having my Sherman. I like having both the OG and the Max because of that. Because if I got let's say I got a Master or an S20 or something like that, then I would need to buy all different parts, right? So let's say I want to have spare parts on hand, I would need to buy spare parts for that EUC and then this EUC, like it's gonna have all these different parts. If you've got this and another one that has the same parts, just buy one set of parts and you got spare parts for both your EUCs. So that's a good advantage. And anyone that's got an OG, an OG, and is thinking about getting a Max, I would say, yeah, it's probably worth it if you really do use all your range. Like if you do kind of get to the end of your battery on your OG and then think, oh, I wish I had that little bit of extra range, then you'll love this because it's got a lot of extra range, to be honest. It's only got 400 extra watt hours, so it's only like 12%, but that's a lot. Like I explained in some other videos, that's enough to... 400 watt hours is enough to ride for like freaking, I don't know, 30 kilometers or more, probably 40, depending on how you ride. You could even go further. So it's a lot of extra range. 400 watt hours. Look at it, like the Tesla Model 3, the specs on that. it's 250 watt hours per mile, right? So 400 watt hours is enough to push a Tesla for a couple of miles. Think about that. So you got that 400, just that extra battery you've got, could push a massive ass, heavy ass car for 2 miles. So it's a lot of extra battery, to be honest. And you'll appreciate that. It's no small extra thing to have. Aside from that, there's not much else to really say. You've got the same screen. All these settings are exactly the same. I would say the toughness is identical. Like how tough this is going to be in an accident is probably the same as the OG, exactly the same. Because you got the same roll bars, same body, basically the same thing. The feel of the ride, like I said, is pretty much identical, except this is just a little bit heavier, just a tiny bit. Acceleration though, this is much better in terms of its max potential. Max potential, more pun. But there's a caveat with that. Unless you've actually pushed your OG to cutout in acceleration, you're never going to notice. And I don't think many people have, because that thing has got a ton of power already. So if you lent your OG in like to max acceleration and cut out and face planted, and then you got up and thought, damn, this thing's still not accelerating hard. You know, even in that max acceleration before it cut out, if you got up and said, nah, that's too slow, then you could say, yeah, I need more acceleration. But if you haven't done that, you can't say, oh, my OG doesn't accelerate fast enough. Because all you got to do is lean more, it'll accelerate harder. That's how they work. If it cuts out, then you can say, yes, I need more power. But when it comes to going up hills, then this could be very relevant. Because that's when, yeah, it'll be a lot easier. If you've got power pads, that is. See, I don't have any power pads. So for me, it's not really going to make a difference. I can never go up a hill that steep, like, you know, a super steep hill that's going to require all that torque that this thing has. I can't even use it because I don't have power pads. So I'm going to get onto that, to be honest. That's something I've been thinking about a lot since getting this thing. Before, I'd never thought about it. I was always like, nah, why bother with power pads, you know? I enjoy riding just like this, you know, barebacked. What do you call it? Bareback horse riding. 10 horsepowers. But since I've got like 10 horsepower now I'm thinking I shouldn't be going bareback. Maybe I should be mounting up on a saddle. Get a couple of, I don't know, power sticks, power boots, perhaps. You know, I got to use the power somehow. Somehow I know there's a way we can get that power out of this thing. But until that day comes, I'll never know just how powerful this thing is. I mean, it's a beast. If it compares to the Master, which it does, from what I've heard, it's got very similar max like acceleration as the Master, then it's very fast. It can do like 0 to 60 kilometers an hour in 3 seconds. It's like a sports car. A sports car that does 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, kilometers though, not miles. I'm not talking supercar, but still, that's pretty fast. That's pretty good acceleration. It'll beat just about any car off the line. Pretty insane. And you might notice it looks pretty dirty. I haven't cleaned it. I don't clean my EUCs, guys. It's not something I do. I just leave them and let them live out their lives in the jungle. The concrete jungle. This thing can make you the king of the concrete jungle. You never need to clean it. You never need to do anything. You don't need to change the brakes or service the brakes. Anything. No chain, no gears, no cables, nothing. Not, like on a bike, you've got all these things you need to service. On this thing, you just ride. You just ride and ride and ride until this thing wears out. That thing's called a tire. And then you change the tire and you keep riding. Rinse and repeat. Except you don't need to rinse it. Like I said, I never clean this thing. No need. It's got more character this way. And you can see it does have a few scratches on it now. Like these are just minor scuffs I've had against walls mainly, or just when it's been on the ground and then I slide it a bit to shift it. And yes, what else can I say? The pedals, they are not original. These are in-motion pedals. And I recommend these for this particular EUC. I definitely recommend these exact pedals. It's just a really good shape. It's a really good fit. Only thing is you need to put a magnet in here. See, I put a magnet in there so that way they stay up. Otherwise they will fall down when you tilt it. What else? That's all I've done actually. That's all I've done is just put these pedals on there. Everything else is stock, standard. You've got good lights on this thing. Just like on the OG, you've got excellent lights. I don't know if you can tell, but that is extremely bright. Because it's daytime, you can't really tell. Look, the sun is setting actually. It's beautiful, isn't it? But yeah, the light on the Sherman Max and the OG Sherman, it's the same light, is super bright. It's so bright, in fact, that when you're on the road, you often get cars flashing their high beams at you. You know, when they get angry. You know, if you leave your high beams on the road, they'll flash you coming in the opposite direction because they're like, oh, turn your lights down. They do that on this thing. Can you believe it? They're like, I can't see. And then they see what it is and they're like, that's an EUC. Did you see that? No, they didn't see anything because it blinded them. They can't see. Especially when you're on the trail. When you're on the trail, imagine how bright it is on a dark trail when people's eyes have adjusted to the darkness and they see this thing with truck high beams coming at them. They're basically stunned. Like I've had push bike riders stop dead in their tracks, covering their eyes and like they're just standing there, just waiting for their eyes to come back. That's how bright this thing is. And since I've noticed that, I'm really careful with it. You know, I turn it off whenever I go past someone. So I'll be riding past and I'll just flick it off, flick it back on. That's the problem though, there's no low setting. It's just got that. That's all it's got. This mega light of doom. And a Superman light on the back. To boot. Same light as the OG. The thing I don't like about this one though is it's kind of pinkish. I don't know if you can tell on the video, but on my OG it's very red. This is more pinkish. It's like red mixed with pink and it doesn't look as good. It's a Superman light. It's not meant to be pink. You can't really tell though, but it's pinkish. This thing is friggin'... I don't know why it is. I don't know if it's the light or if it's like, if the pinkness is coming from within. But yeah, it's just a minor complaint. And that is it, guys. That's the Sherman Max. As of now, for now. That's my update. That's my 3,530 kilometer review. It's not really a review. It's just a chat, but... yeah, these are my thoughts on it so far. And it's making plenty of money. I'm not getting as much work as I would like though on Uber Eats. If I could, this is ideal. Like it can do pretty much a full day and make around $250 before the battery is depleted. And that's basically all you can do in a day. By the time you've made that, you're tired. You're tired. But this tire never gets tired. That's the amazing thing, isn't it? This tire is like magic. It's like a magic carpet for the city. Just jump on board and get witty. And that's that. That's it. All right, we're recording. Let's see this thing. Oh, look at that. What a view. So that's what it looks like, huh? And it's pretty windy. I'm surprised it can handle this. This is crazy. With ease. Look, I'm there. See? Yo! See me? Yo! Let's go see the Sherman, huh? Let's go see the Sherman, huh, guys? Whoa, dog. What are you fucking doing?